Hello, my name is John Brown. I'm the Vice President of Market Intelligence for TechTarget. And today we're going to take a quick look at what 2017 looks like across Europe for converged and hyperconverged infrastructure. This is some of the results of an annual survey that we do. This is actually the 5th year that we're doing it. And we look at things like budget allocations, changes in purchase behavior, changes in the competitive landscape. We do this selfishly so that we can understand what to write about. So when you have hundreds of editors and hundreds of contributors, very often the question is, well, what does the market need to hear about? What are the current pain points and consideration points? And this research helps inform those decisions. This research can also help inform your go-to-market decisions. And in fact, a large part of what I actually do is to work with vendors on their go-to-market plans in specific markets to use data to help validate or bring some clarity to market-based assumptions. And if you're interested in getting any of that data, certainly reach out to your TechTarget representative. So let's look at converged and hyperconverged infrastructure for 2017. The first thing is it can be described as strong momentum. In our research, hyperconverged infrastructure actually is the #1 momentum technology. That is to say, it has more new buyers coming into the field than any other data center technology that we track. So you can see that that's a hotly contested and competitive market there. Specifically in 2017, across Europe, hyperconverged infrastructure, about 1 in 6 organizations are intending to invest in that this year. And converged infrastructure, about 1% more, so about 13%. We do know that the European market is a little different than what we're seeing elsewhere, and a lot of that has to, frankly, do with the strength of HPE in the space and the strength of their converged offerings. And it really does look different in Europe than it looks across the rest of the world. If we're looking into specific markets across Europe, there are definitely some changes or some variances that are worth understanding. So in hyperconverged infrastructure, it's a fabulous idea in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, where just under 1 in 5 organizations says, yeah, we are absolutely investing in hyperconverged infrastructure. But if I look at the UK, that number drops by almost 2/3. So we're at sub 10% of the UK market. Now, granted, the UK market is large, and there's plenty going on there, but finding deals when only 9 or 10% of the data center audience is moving becomes something that's a little bit harder to do, and something that we at TechTarget can certainly help you with. If we look at France, France is coming in somewhere in between. Converged infrastructure, interestingly enough, we see the opposite. So the UK and Ireland as a region actually is leading, and then France, and then Germany, Austria, and Switzerland there. So it's almost an inverse, whether you're doing hyperconverged or converged in your specific marketplace. So we cover these markets, and the way we're able to get you this information is we run a lot of websites that deal with data center infrastructure. We have Search Data Center, which is available in English. We also have that available in German, searchdatacenter.de. But we also have our flagship global publication, Computer Weekly, which every week has features about this hyperconverged and converged infrastructure bit in the context of what else is going on in cloud and some of the other initiatives in the space. I would encourage you to take a look at some of the sites that I've mentioned to get a good idea of how we're covering these things. We do drill down to a pretty granular level to understand why organizations are buying specific pieces of technology. So I thought it would be interesting to share a little bit of that research with you right now. If we look at the top features that converged infrastructure buyers are deciding upon, the #1 feature and the #1 decision criteria is actually scalability. We have a little joke around the office that scalability is the new performance, but it's true. Scalability really has replaced misplaced performance as a driver or as a differentiator when it comes to converged infrastructure. The next set of features really has to do with working well with virtual machines, so having VM-specific configuration and to be able to optimize that converged infrastructure, which comes prepackaged or at least pre-engineered, being able to optimize that for specific applications and workloads. And after that, they start worrying about storage features. And storage is clearly a big part of converged infrastructure, but coming in as a fourth place decision maker is around advanced storage, whether dedupe and compression, how efficient that is. So storage efficiency is still a part of that decision. Now, if we look at drivers for converged infrastructure purchase, so we talked about the features, but what causes them to buy converged infrastructure instead of something else? Number one, it's easy. That's it. It's easier to purchase. And that has been a number one dominating feature there. Number two is, hey, we can save some money. We believe we're going to save some money by purchasing all of these things at once. And then the number three benefit or driver that drives folks towards converged infrastructure in EMEA is the ability to deploy more quickly. We cover more features than that, of course, and we can share with you more information. If we look at hyperconverged, so similar market, different form factor, new, taking the world by storm. Let's look at the workloads for hyperconverged. What are organizations in EMEA? What are they running on this converged infrastructure? What do they intend to run? Number one workload for hyperconverged infrastructure is VDI. So it's not a disease, it's virtual desktop infrastructure that you might get from a vendor like Citrix or VMware that are out in the space. But that is the number one workload for hyperconverged, followed by in-house applications, and then business intelligence and business analytics, and then ERP. So being able to run those SAP workloads to automate your vast factory infrastructure. Hyperconverged infrastructure is absolutely being deployed in those scenarios. The good news is that TechTarget, as an organization, we actually have websites that are dedicated to just those topics. So virtual desktop infrastructure, we offer brianmadden.com, as well as Search Virtual Desktop and Computer Weekly. In-house applications, we've got an entire group dedicated to DevOps and software development with 8 or 9 sites. Business intelligence and analytics, we have Search Business Analytics, Search Data Management, and a host of other sites, as well as Computer Weekly that covers that. And then ERP, we have Search Manufacturing ERP, which is 100% dedicated to managing and deploying those ERP workloads. So those are addressable audiences for you. When we look at why, or let's look at, last thing I wanted to share with you was something I like to call the beauty contest. And this really is, of our audience that is currently purchasing hyperconverged infrastructure, which organizations, which products, which vendors are they looking at? And so if we look at converged infrastructure, right now it is a virtual tie between Dell and HPE in the EMEA marketplace, followed by IBM, Cisco, NetApp, Oracle, Lenovo, VCE, and Hitachi. This is a frothy space, and we expect some changes going on here. If you've gotten this far in the webcast, you know what's going on in this space. If we look at hyperconverged infrastructure, we see Dell and all of the different flavors that they are offering coming in as number one considered hyperconverged infrastructure, followed by HPE and Nutanix, SimpliVity, NetApp, Cisco, VMware, Fujitsu, Atlantis, Supermicro, and Maxta. For every one of these vendors, as well as the new folks that are out there, we do track consideration, and we can share that with you. If you're interested in getting a briefing or understanding more about this converged and hyperconverged infrastructure market across Europe and across EMEA, talk to your TechTarget representative, and we can either send you the data that we can have a discussion about your go-to-market plans, or we can provide you with whatever insight or sounding board is appropriate for where you are in the marketplace. Thank you very much for your time.